Let's go there and let's talk about Deepak Chopra in the Epstein files. So I'm going to start by just mentioning briefly when I've seen him on stage and a mention about somebody else. Then I'm going to go into an email that he sent his audience after this came out. And then I'll briefly discuss what we can all make of this and learn from this. So firstly, the whole topic of Epstein and all that stuff, this is all stuff that I've known for a really long time, and I'm going to make another video about that. With Deepak Chopra, I went to a Hay House event in Australia, I would say about 2011. And at that time, I was really interested in becoming a writer, and the fantasy would be a Hay House writer. So I actually went to a writer's workshop, and in that writer's workshop hosted by Hay House, a lot of their big authors came on stage and did a little talk. And when Deepak came on stage, I didn't get any great vibes. I kind of got a bit of an ick, and something didn't feel right. And I just thought, okay, I'm not so into him. I've never been into his work at all. Whenever I did try it, because he's so popular and mainstream, I just couldn't connect with it at all. I know that it's quite dry and intellectual, but for me personally, just wasn't really a connection. And I just never really, to be honest, never really felt like I liked him. So at that same Hay House event, which was a big deal for me at the time, I met with a group of other people like myself who had trained to be an angel intuitive years prior. And we met up together at this event and had dinner afterwards. And then I went out for drinks with another girl from this group. So I'm with my angel intuitive friend, and we're sitting at this bar overlooking the river, having a drink outside. And a known Hay House author walks past. He was connected to the event. He does work for Hay House, and he was part of organising it. And I think my friend just shouted out his name or something like that. And this man is an older man, probably around the age of Deepak, I would guess. And my friend is maybe in her 20s, and I was about in my late 30s, but I also look really young, so I probably look in my 20s at the time. And he said something, shouted out something like, "Oh, hot girls," or something like that. And it just seemed really off for someone who is a Hay House author and organizer, a known public figure who's clearly older, let's just say over 60. And we're obviously younger girls, and we've obviously been to the Hay House event, and just seemed really off, unprofessional, and gave us the ick vibes. And at that Hay House event, it was on for 2 different days. So I think I went on the Saturday, and it was going to be repeated again on the Sunday, but with some different authors, like secret guest appearances. So this author who had called us hot mentioned that Doreen Virtue is going to be there the next day, and we were trained by Doreen Virtue at another Hay House event prior as angel intuitives, and I had 3 true angel stories of my own published in her books by Hay House about angel experiences. And I had a deep affinity with Doreen Virtue at the time, and I was so interested in writing and just all the spiritual stuff, and I was so excited at the idea of Doreen being there. And so this author who'd called us hot said, "If you come tomorrow morning early, I'll get you in." And yeah, maybe he's just someone that can give free tickets and get people into the event. But yeah, something was off. And also after that, I had spoken with somebody who was younger than me, and she had said she'd had an uncomfortable experience with that same person. So I just thought I'd mention that because these things spread far and wide, and maybe it was nothing, but this is about following our instinct. What might have happened if? We've all been in those kinds of scenarios, right? And so Deepak being mentioned in the Epstein files, and you can look it up for yourself, but he's mentioned things like, referenced hot girls. He also has been accused in the past, and that was referenced in an email, accused of that kind of thing. And Epstein had asked about it, and he replied that it had been sorted or something like that, and Epstein said good. And of course, all are innocent until proven guilty, right? Another thing that he had mentioned is, which I found odd, it didn't sit right with me, and it was like a small spiritual statement, and it was, God is a construct. And he wrote that to Epstein. And yes, you may be able to intellectualize it. However, it seemed off for me. God is a construct. Like a construct is something you make up in your mind. And, the creator, God, from my perspective, isn't a construct. He speaks about consciousness in his spiritual work. And yes, you can absolutely look at God as a consciousness, and we all have a consciousness. But that word construct, that didn't seem right. Kind of fits in a little bit more with like Freemasons and things like that, doesn't it? And of course, Epstein is not for God. It's quite the opposite. And we're talking about, with Epstein, not just these deeds that were done. There's so much more, and a lot of this is spiritual on the negative side. Topic for another day. So I happened to come across, someone posted on Facebook, an email that Deepak had sent his private audience, people who subscribed to get his emails, after people saw his mention in the Epstein files. And I just glanced down at it, and I just very quickly got gaslighting vibes. So I thought, well, let me read it out to you. I didn't actually read the whole thing at the time. I didn't feel like I had to get the idea, right? So, okay, here is what it says. Okay, it starts off, dear friends. Just even that on its own, honestly, and like I'm an energy healer, I do intuitive work, and straight away just reading dear friends just feels wrong. I feel a clench in my stomach. I feel it's like, what's the feeling similar to? Like, as someone that doesn't like you, and then they send you a message and go, hey friend, and you're like, right? Doesn't feel right. Okay. I want to take a moment to speak to you directly. And I think that word directly is like, so direct to the person. So the person reading it would start to think, oh, okay, this might be about that thing. Like, what does he mean? He wants to be direct here. Maybe he's going to be honest and forthcoming. Then he writes, I know this has been and honestly, this is a really hard line for me to let out. It'll sound like a standard line, but I find it hard to say. I know that this has been a difficult and unsettling time for some in our community. And I just find that, like, I'm full of cringe, right? You can see it on me. So in my sessions, sometimes you see the energy on me if we're talking about a person or a thing, and I'm kind of like, it's just happening organically in my system. But that just feels so off. It's like immediately gaslighting vibes. I know this has been a difficult time. Like, hello, like, how dare you, right? Okay, let's presume, now, of course, innocent until proven guilty, but let's presume for the sake of this that, that he was up to things that were inappropriate. Let's just put it that way. So I really feel with that one, like the audacity, right? Okay. As long as I am able to, that feels like victimization. Like, if it's not like, well, I don't have much more of life to go now, like, this is sort of not, I would assume, his usual verbiage. Or, really it's saying until I get in trouble or because it's out now and everybody knows, and what are the repercussions, if anything, because often there's no repercussions for these people. It remains my intention, so it remains like as if all along it has been, to continue sharing practices and perspectives on body, mind, and spirit, and to be present with this community. Okay, now, firstly, wants to continue the spiritual stuff and sharing, and then be present with this community. Oh, again, my stomach couldn't be tightening anymore. As we move through, so he's including himself in the we, as we move through this moment together, totally minimizing things, totally gaslighting, bypassing, spiritual bypassing, manipulative, and avoidant. Because yes, he's addressing it in a roundabout way, but he's avoidant to take responsibility and to be forthright. As we move through this moment together, because it's all about us all together, like isn't that sort of like guru cult vibes? This is a process that continues to support me personally, okay, because he needs support. Yes, we should all support him. And it is my hope that what is meaningful for me may also be supportive for you. For a start, I don't really get what he's saying, but also obviously he means something and it's well thought out. This is an intelligent man. Yeah, perhaps you can comment on what you think it means. It is my hope that what is meaningful for me may also be supportive for you. It just, and how is we, us, and the support that the community needs connected to him being in it? Because this should be outside of it. Then, okay, subtitle. Okay, now he's going to get all spiritualized. A reflection integrating the shadow. Again, the audacity. All right, now he's going to go into teaching about the shadow and making this about shadow stuff. And then he's going to, my assumption is, I haven't read it through properly, but it's like projecting that onto people to look at their own shadows. Possibly that's what he's trying to do. Let's have a look. In times of change, okay, so this is all times of change, everybody, like, they're like energy's changing on earth. We know this is spiritual people, right? But he's trying to make it, this is just all part of that, right? Don't worry, little people. Let me be the wise person to corral you all into what I want you to believe. Many of us find ourselves reflecting more deeply on our inner world and emotional patterns. One of the most important aspects of personal growth is learning to recognize and integrate the parts of ourselves we may have previously overlooked or pushed aside. So the only thing I can take from this that I think that could possibly him trying to show like so-called accountability would be that he's maybe overlooked or pushed aside this thing, but I doubt it. So it's kind of placing, okay, we're in this time of great awakening. People have been doing so much inner growth and healing. Have been exploring spirituality, and he is this leader, this thought leader who secretly believes God's a construct. And he's trying to deflect back to people's own shadows, knowing full well that they do their own shadow work. Again, it's like a cult leader, what they would do, right? Next, he says, in this short reflection, I explored the idea of the shadow in a universal and practical way, and how bringing awareness to these hidden aspects of ourselves can support greater clarity, wholeness, and healing. Okay, that's very generalized. And what do you mean? And what's that got to do with anything? And how is that like addressing things at all? Then he links to some video. I don't know what the video is. Obviously, something on shadow and healing and so on. So, okay, next subtitle, Healing Fear and Anxiety. Okay, so I assume now he is addressing that a lot of people are in fear. So, like, okay, so it's kind of like sending a subconscious message. Oh, you're just in fear, right? You're in fear, you're in anxiety, so many things going on in the world. So I'm going to project that you're part of this, right? That you are one of them. In our troubled times, a prevailing mood of angst needs to be healed. That's almost bossy. You need to heal yourself. Don't worry about me, right? I'm the wise one. And the first step is to learn how to deal with anxiety. Wow, again, it's bossy. It's like telling you off like a parent. Like you need to, like the parent did something wrong, and instead of being like the child saying and expressing or feeling like, yeah, that parent did that thing, but the parent instead says, you need to work on yourself. You need to not be so naughty, right? It's like, uh, look at your shadows. What about the time that you did this? And the confused little child might go off and start believing it's all their stuff. And the first step is to learn how to deal with anxiety rather than to succumb to it or engage in fruitless struggle that never seems to resolve itself. Like, why the heck is he writing all this? Like, think about it. And it's interesting that he says, like, succumb to it. Like, we all know that, in the last several years, there's been a lot of angst in the air and so on, people going a bit nuts and all of that. And it's kind of like, I assume, is he like referencing that? And like that you can succumb to all of this, like you can succumb to all the chaos, right? All the Epstein chaos. You're going to succumb to it. Like, don't be a fool. Get back to your spiritual grounding. Don't worry about me. I'm like, in the shadows, like a little ghost, but I'm the wise man up in the mountain. Let's make it about you. Okay, I'm sorry. You see, I'm getting a bit worked up. And then he mentions, or engage in a fruitless struggle. So it's like, it's fruitless. What's the point? Don't struggle. Don't think about it. You know what? Don't even think. It's fruitless. It never seems to resolve itself. Okay, next. To begin, fear and anxiety normally don't announce themselves with trumpets and drums. Okay, again, being the wise man teacher saying, you won't recognize it, right? It's stirring underneath. You won't recognize it because you're a dumbass. They slip quietly into everyday life. And then he's written, disguised as being realistic. Disguised? Okay, so yeah, people's intuition, which he would otherwise, I'm assume over the years, I've never really got into his work, would be, promoting intuition and consciousness. But he's saying it's disguised as being realistic. So you're believing an illusion. It's all an illusion. And then he's written being realistic in bunny ears, as well as the next one, staying informed, bunny ears. Or just bunny ears, preparing for the worst. So I'm going to say that line again so you get the clear line. In fact, I'm going to say the two lines. To begin, fear and anxiety normally don't announce themselves with trumpets and drums. They slip quietly into everyday life. That kind of sounds devilish, doesn't it? Disguised as being realistic, staying informed, or just preparing for the worst. So he's continuing to build in a psychopathic way a scenario for people to believe that, I'm not being realistic. I think I'm staying informed, but it's actually not. And it's all an illusion, and it's all, I'm preparing for the worst. I'm all doomsday. So it's all me. I'm wrong. So he's building that up. Interesting that he also said the word disguised as being realistic. I feel that word disguised is revealing itself, like he is actually disguising, and his disguising came through in that word. That's what I feel. And I feel like there are some YouTubers who are professional, what do they call it? Like, I know there's a guy called something like Deception Detective. There's the body language experts and all that kind of thing, right? And I feel like that would be an example of something he would pinpoint, like how someone that's done a crime will use a word about, they're trying to present themselves as the good person, like someone who's guilty of, like, they have their own missing child, but they're the guilty one, and they'll use the word in as they're speaking to the public. Yeah, I feel like disguised is one of those words that comes out. It definitely comes out. He's disguising. Next, before you know it, okay, sounds like there's more of a build-up. You are rehearsing disasters that never arrive. Okay, so he's really going for it now. He's really building it up more. And now you're at the point of, I'm just delusional, neurotic, I'm making shit up, I'm rehearsing disasters that never arrive, right? And perhaps in the subconscious mind, he's linking it to things like people in the spiritual community some people have believed in certain things are going to happen and then they don't end up happening. And there's this whole like delusional world or disappointment. And then it's kind of like he's sort of on the coattails of that, trying to get people's psyches to basically be messed up. He's like mixing it all up. This is chaos in what otherwise is order. The order is what you feel about this person yourself. And chaos is the dark energy. So rehearsing disasters that never arrive and reliving hurts that no longer exist except in memory. So it's like, don't relive this. Like, don't go over this now. Like, that happened years ago. Like, just ignore it. It no longer exists. Let's wipe it out, right? Like CERN wiping out people's memories, changing realities. Let me do a little hoodwink so that you don't remember it anymore. In a world addicted to threat, okay, now people are addicted, right? So now there's some truth in that, like when we can be addicted to the news or to events and so on. So he's like hooking on to that. In a world addicted to threat, okay, threat, interesting, threat. So perceived threat, you're perceiving this as threat. This is not threat. We have mistaken tension, okay, tension, so undermining things, for wisdom and constant worry as a sign of love. So he's trying to say, so the undertones, I could be reading this wrong, of course, and please, we can all interpret it in different ways and you share what you think. But he's basically saying, so in a world addicted to threat, we have mistaken tension, interesting word, that undermines things, for wisdom and constant worry, us constantly worrying, as a sign of love. Yet beneath this collective spell, oh yes, collective spell, who's doing the collective spell? Lies a simple but radical truth. Oh, don't use that word radical. That word radical irks me. There was a public spiritual figure who used the word radical several months back in a video about things he was doing. And yeah, it caused a lot of stuff in the community. Now he's got, okay, so that lies a simple but radical truth. Fear is not your nature and it is not your destiny. And that's the end. So he's basically saying fear isn't natural to you. It's not your real nature. but he's using your intuition and your common sense and your intellect, your intelligence of what you have heard and what you've seen and what you've read about him, and undermining it as, disguising it as fear. And then he's got, and it's not your destiny. Oh, let's end all poetic, right? That's not your destiny. Follow me and you will then have your ultimate destiny, because that's who I am. I'm the guru. Okay, so that's the email. So do you feel like me? Do you have different feelings and interpretations? Please do share, because I think this is a really interesting discussion, and I haven't made a video like this before, but I felt a call for some time to start making videos when I can, like where we discuss stuff. And it's really important as well, because this is a big thing for us. You know, we can also just ignore it and get on with it, and that's also good to do as well. But in terms of this issue, it's prevalent and it's in our face, and we're learning from it too, right? And it's not, as he is saying, in this total blatant disregard and turning things around. So what does this mean for you now? Like, this is something, I mean, a topic that I've been wanting to speak about for some time, and at some point down the track I'll do a video about it on its own, which is spiritual discernment, like having discernment about people in the spiritual community, or about topics, about what you believe with spiritual stuff and so many things. Also about seeing red flags. Like I mentioned, when I saw him on the stage, I didn't get a good feeling. That was quite a while back now, and just never did. Never, we can not like people and so on, and everybody loves them, but you're like, yeah, not for me, right? So how much of something is a red flag? And trusting your intuition. And what I really suggest you do too is look at his face. Like, go look at some pictures. Just have a little exercise, like clear your mind, get all relaxed, and look at his pictures. Look at his face and see what you think and feel. And of course, yes, absolutely, might be completely innocent and all the rest of it. But yeah, see how you feel about that. Like when I say it, do you cringe inside of yourself? What are your internal feelings? I've had a lot of feelings that I've shared with you in this video. So what are yours? And how do you feel about all of this? And what this means in general? But I think also, if he were more innocent, I don't feel like he would have written this email. What do you think? Okay, I look forward to reading your comments. Let me know your thoughts.